Hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Hollabec, and today I thought I would tell you about my experience on keto, why I'm no longer on it, the pros and the cons that I personally experienced, and any tips I may have for you guys. So a lot of people are still asking whether or not I'm still on keto, and the answer is no, I am no longer on keto. And there's really two big reasons why. The first one, it is an incredibly hard diet to stick to. There are carbs in literally everything. And when you've grown up a certain way, eating a certain way, you pick up recipes from your mother or your father or family members, and you have this certain way of cooking, and it's hard to change your lifestyle as drastically as this diet insists that you do. Plain and simple. I was finding it incredibly difficult to live my life, especially during summertime when Jordan and I are doing so many different vacations. I think the longest span of time I actually went consecutively was like 6 or 8 weeks on keto. And that was extremely lucky and extremely great. And it just worked out that there was nothing big happening in those 2 months that would mess it up. But otherwise, anytime we did a vacation, a trip, or there was a holiday or a family event, I would usually end up screwing up ketosis, and I would eat some carbs, and I would always feel really guilty afterwards because I knew it wasn't the same as having a normal cheat day on a normal diet. When you cheat on keto, it can take like a week to get back into it. So if you're a very committed person, then this will be a great diet for you. But for me, it was very difficult because sugar is everywhere in everything. And while there are substitutes, that actually leads me into the second reason that I am no longer on keto, and that was because I was making myself absolutely sick. And I know that the second reason is 100% my fault. I know that there is a proper way to do keto that is a lot healthier. It calls for lean proteins and your green vegetables and low glycemic fruit, and that is fantastic. However, planning that way is extremely difficult to do, and if you're not in the right mindset to do it, it can be almost impossible. So I was making myself sick because I was eating way too many artificial sweeteners. And the whole point of artificial sweeteners is your body doesn't digest them, and that is why it does not affect your blood sugar. And what I didn't realize, and actually learn later, is there are some people who are actually allergic to artificial sweeteners, or their body just doesn't react to them the same it reacts in other people's bodies. So I was making all these recipes that called for artificial sweeteners. I was putting them in my hot drinks. I was making different recipes with them and pretty much putting it in everything because it's supposed to be a sugar substitute, and that's exactly how I was using it. But after so long of doing that, I just started to feel terrible all the time. And it was mainly my stomach. I felt like it was always upset. I either felt like I had to throw up, or even worse, and I hate even admitting this out loud, but I had so much diarrhea. Oh my god. It was so bad. It messed up my stomach so bad. So I felt like I was never safe. Like I couldn't go out anywhere anymore because I was afraid. Like I didn't trust my stomach anywhere we went. And like at the time, I didn't fully realize what I was doing to myself. I didn't make the connection between the artificial sweeteners and what was happening to me. I assumed that it was just part of keto because I had heard other people who were on keto talking about those kinds of problems, but never to the degree that I was dealing with. So I finally, and kind of just recently, drew that connection when I had found out about artificial sweeteners. But also because of other things that have been going on in my life. I have been off of keto since April of this year, and I was so sure that there was something seriously wrong with me because I feel like it took like 2 or 3 months for everything to balance back out again. And the reason why I connected it to the artificial sweeteners is because during that 2 to 3 months, even though I wasn't on proper keto, I was still consuming artificial sweeteners. I still had things that I wanted to use up. I had products and ingredients. And so all the meantime, I was still consuming diet sodas and my diet Snapples, which I absolutely loved. And I still had boxes of the Atkins candy. So I was still consuming these artificial sweeteners, and they were screwing with me so bad. So 2 to 3 months after getting off of keto and finally either using up or throwing away all the artificial sweeteners, I finally started feeling better. So in reality, it wasn't really keto's fault for that, but because of keto, I was consuming more artificial sweeteners without realizing that I was hurting myself. So now that I've covered the reasons why I am not on keto anymore, and I've kind of touched on the cons of the diet, I did want to talk about some of the pros that I experienced while I was on it, because I'm not trying to scare you guys away from it or tell you to not do it. I will start by saying I am very happy and very thankful that I did do this diet. For me, it felt like I was wiping the slate clean. So it felt like I was kind of rebooting my metabolism. And the big thing was this diet, for whatever reason, despite all the other diets I had tried, everything else I had tried, this particular diet kind of helped change my relationship with food. Whereas before, I would just gorge myself on everything. And it wasn't just junk food. I love vegetables, so I would always eat vegetables, but maybe not always in the healthiest way. I love my red meats. And while I don't really have much of a sweet tooth, I do definitely love sweets after dinner. It's my favorite. So before, I wasn't really managing how much I ate. I would just eat. And then I started keto, and it changed everything for me. You know, all of a sudden I was measuring the things that I ate. It wasn't like calorie counting, which I had done before in a very unhealthy way, and I'm not going to talk about that now. If you guys want to hear about that, I can do a video about that. But I was properly counting my macros, which I had never even heard about until I started keto. You know, suddenly the food that I was eating, it had meaning. It was more than just, ooh, it tasted good, or I'm stressed out, so I'm going to eat this cheesecake. Everything that I was putting into my body had a number tied to it. Besides just calories, it was protein and carbs and fat, and it was all important information and important things that my body needed in a certain amount. And for me, for whatever reason, maybe I'm just a numbers person, but having each food item broken down into what it can do for my body helped so much. So even if you don't necessarily do keto, I would strongly recommend, if you do have kind of a weird relationship with food, just tie a number to it. Not the calories, that's a bad thing to focus on, but like tell yourself that this chicken breast has protein and my body needs protein, and my body needs this much protein. And then that way too, you can kind of see, you know, how much I should be eating for each meal. And it just, once you start seeing, you know, on a plate, like this is a healthy portion of food, and then eating it and knowing that it's satisfying to you. And the more that you do that, the easier it gets to do it in the future. Does that make sense? Which I guess was a great thing about keto, is because it was very heavy in healthy fats. I ate a lot of avocados, nuts, good healthy fat, and that filled me up and it helped me feel satisfied while I was figuring out how I feel about food and my meals. Another incredible thing that keto did for me was help change my mind on calories. Because as I mentioned, I used to be a huge calorie counter, and not in a healthy way. There had been times in my past where I had lost lots of weight, like 40 pounds at a time, from counting calories. And it was usually because I was only consuming 800 to 900 calories a day, which is not healthy, guys. And don't you ever freaking do that to yourself, ever. For starters, the weight will not stay off. You will gain it all back. It will happen. It will happen naturally because you are putting your body into starvation mode, and as soon as you start eating a healthy amount of food again, you're just gonna gain it all back. And that's why keto was great and why it felt like a clean slate to me, because I had done so much damage to my body like that in the past. It helped me to see that it was okay to have, 1,700 calories a day, and I'm still gonna lose weight. I mean, the average person needs 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day, and really you don't need much of a deficit to lose weight. So on keto, I was eating 1,600 to 1,700 calories a day without exercise. I will point that out. I did not exercise the entire time that I was on keto. And overall, even on and off keto, I ended up losing 40 pounds total. Like I said, I've been off since April of this year, and I've still managed to maintain my weight, which is incredible for me. Now, I know a lot of other people on keto claim that it has a ton of other benefits. I personally didn't really notice much of a difference. So the big one is mental clarity, which I never really noticed. I never noticed any difference. I never really felt any different, like I was losing a brain fog. I know that's how it has been explained, is you lose your brain fog, but I never personally noticed a difference. I also heard that you are supposed to have a lot more energy, which I didn't personally notice. I actually felt more tired at times, like it was harder for me to do certain physical activity, which I know there are certain things you can do if you're on the keto diet to sort of make up for that if you do have a very active lifestyle. So I ended up actually stopping working out, which was not exactly the best. So I mean, that's definitely something to look out for. I feel like everybody reacts a little bit differently on keto. I mean, there's very similar things that different people go through, but personally, I didn't really notice any of those special benefits they talk about when you're on keto. So I think that was pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. I think I touched on everything. If you guys have any questions, of course, just leave them down in the comments and I will respond to them so fast. You know, I would love to hear about your guys' own personal experience if you're willing to share it. Let me know diets you've tried or struggles you've had. Or if you've tried keto, let me know how keto went for you. Are you still on it? If you're not, would you go on it again? I would love to know, guys, so let me know. Of course, if you enjoyed this video and I helped you out at all, which I really hope I did, leave me a thumbs up. I love seeing those. They make me feel so good. And if you have not done so already, please subscribe. I'm trying so hard to reach 100 subscribers before the end of the year, and you guys can help me with that. And that being said, guys, I will see you the next time around.